Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry that there haven't been any videos in a long time. Lots of stuff happened. My main Instagram got banned, and while it might seem stupid to be sad about an Instagram account, it was one of my main sources of income. I just haven't been motivated to make videos, and I'm sorry about that, but now one of my favorite days of the year is coming up, which is Halloween. So I decided to buy lots of horror manga and make a horror Halloween manga haul. And maybe you can find some manga in this video that you yourself can read to get into the Halloween spirit. This is just going to be a sort of cozy vibe video. I have my dogs here in my lap, and I also have my favorite mug with tea, and I'm only allowed to drink from this mug in October. I hope you wanna spend some time with me and my dogs and discuss some horror manga. Most of the manga in this haul are pre-owned mangas, and some of them came in the most horrible packaging I've ever seen. I'll show you a video of it later, but now let's just get on with the video. And if you can hear licking noses, that's just my dog. If you just put your hand in front of her, she will lick. It's her hobby, I guess, her obsession. But yeah, now let's just get going with the video. Here is manga I have been waiting to read for such a long time, and this is Blood on the Tracks by Shuso Oshimi. It's one of my favorite manga authors, and I just love their work. It's so psychologically draining and scary, I guess. But what is my dog doing? So yeah, this volume 1 has been sold out in every store in Norway and also online for such a long time, and it finally came back in stock in time for Halloween, which is perfect. And I'm so excited to start reading this. I've heard so many great things about it, and like I said, Oshimi is one of my favorite artists, so I'm just so excited for this. Since I haven't read any of these mangas before, I'm just going to read the synopsis on the back, so you'll get an understanding of what they're about. So this one says, Seiichi's mother loves him very much, and his days pass with placid regularity. School, friends, even the attention of his attractive classmate Fukishi. Until one terrible summer day, that all changes. Shuso Oshimi delivers his most unsettling work yet, the tale of a seemingly normal family suddenly swallowed up by the creeping horror of everyday life. Gorgeous art and an understated script only serve to heighten the tension as we watch Seiichi Osabe's life spiral into a nightmare. From what I've heard others say about this manga, it's more of a slow-burning psychological horror. The horror is a lot in the picture. My dog just snored. It's not the type of manga that just jumps out at you and screams horror. It's more of a unsettling feeling described mostly in pictures. At least that's my conclusion after hearing reviews about this, so I can't wait to read it myself, and I'm sure I won't be disappointed. It's been such a long time since I've filmed a video that it suddenly feels kinda awkward to talk to the camera again, but I'm getting better at it as I speak, so just give me some time if this video feels awkward. Next up is another manga by Shuso Oshimi, and this is volume 6 and 7 of Happiness. Happiness is also a slow-burning psychological manga. I've only read volume 1 to 5. There have been some kinda bloody and gory chapters if you don't like that sort of thing, but it's mostly a psychological horror. And it's about a boy that gets turned into a vampire against his will. I can read the synopsis on volume 1. Here we have volume 1, and I absolutely love these covers. The cover art is so beautiful and the art style is just amazing. But let's see what this one says. Nothing interesting is happening in Makoto Okasaki's first year of high school. His life is a series of quiet humiliations, low-grade bullies, unreliable friends, and the constant frustration of his adolescent lust. But one night, a pale teen girl knocks him to the ground in an alley and offers him a choice. Now everything is different. Daylight is searing brighter, food tastes awful, and worse than anything is the terrible consuming thirst. The tiny shames of his old life have been replaced by 2 towering horrors. The truth of what will slake his awful cravings and high school itself. I really like the first 5 volumes. Like I said earlier, it's a slow burn, and the first 3 volumes were very slow, but after that it really picks up, and I was just craving more volumes, like Okasaki craves blood. So volume 6 have been out of stock since forever, and I was so grateful when it finally came back in stock, and I bought 6 and 7. I don't know if I'll start reading them right away or if I should collect more volumes first, because the end of volume 5 was such a cliffhanger. So maybe I should wait with reading these until I have some more volumes. This is a really great manga to read if you're into more of a unconventional, psychological, unromanticized vampire story. Like I said in the beginning, I bought some of these mangas secondhand, and it's the entire series of Parasyte, and these mangas came in the worst packaging I've ever seen in my entire life. I filmed how the package looked after I picked it up from the post office, and it wasn't great. I was so afraid that they would be ruined, and also if a person can send a bunch of manga in this type of packaging, what's the condition of the manga? Have they taken care of it at all? So I was kind of scared, but the manga were fine, but the packaging were horrible. So yeah, that's how it arrived. But thankfully everything inside was safe. No thanks to the seller. But yeah, this is the entire series of Parasyte. And Parasyte is a really old horror manga, and it's one of my favorite animes. So I've been wanting to read the manga for a long time, and I finally found all of them pre-owned. So I'm just really happy and excited to have the entire series. And just after I bought them, I saw that it was announced that Parasyte is going to get a re-release full color edition starting December or something. But I took a look at some of the colored pages, and to be honest, I prefer the black and white one, so I'm happy. If I feel the urge to buy the full colored manga, of course I'll buy that too. So Parasyte is essentially a story about alien parasites invading the earth. Let's take a look at what it says on the back. They arrive in silence and darkness. They descend from the skies. They have a hunger for human flesh. They are everywhere. They are parasites, alien creatures who to survive must invade and take control of a human host. Once they have infected their victims, they can assume any deadly form they choose. Monsters with giant teeth, winged demons, creatures with blades for hands. But most have chosen to conceal their lethal purpose behind ordinary human faces. So no one knows their secret, except an ordinary high school student. Shin is battling for control of his own body against an alien parasite. But can he find a way to warn humanity of the horrors to come? This is a mix of psychological horror and gore and action and battles and fight scenes and love stories, and it's just a really beautiful story. Sometimes you feel bad for the parasites, sometimes you hate the parasites, sometimes you feel bad for humans, sometimes you hate the humans. So it's kinda back and forth. I've heard people say that the manga is better than the anime, so can't wait to be able to read it in its entirety and compare the two. If you don't like body horror, this really isn't the manga for you. If you just look at the covers and feel like these are creepy, this is too much for me, then you should absolutely not read this. But if you are a fan of body horror, action, gore, psychological drama, love stories, and everything in between, this is probably a great read. Since I haven't read it, I can't recommend it 100%. But if it's like people say and it's better than the anime, then I can recommend this 100,000%. Now, these next two volumes or omnibuses are bought out of nostalgia and it's the Elfen Lied Omnibus Volume 1 and 2. And these omnibuses are 3 volumes in one, so this is 1 through 6. Elfen Lied was one of the first animes I watched actually. I've always been a huge fan of horror, so of course I had to pick up Elfen Lied when starting out. When you hear people say like, oh my god, it's the most brutal and bloody and gory and horrible thing you'll ever see in your entire life. And even though it didn't scare me, I'm kind of afraid of anime blood. Not afraid, but more like it makes me nauseous. I'm not afraid of seeing blood in movies, but anime hits different. I don't know why. And this anime, it's so freaking bloody. Like, yeah, it's a mess. And I heard that the Elfen Lied manga was going out of print, so I decided that I had to buy them before it was too late, because if I was too late, I'd probably regret it. I'm just looking for the last 2 omnibuses and then I'll have the entire collection. As you can see, these have explicit content, parental advisory stickers, and they're also wrapped in plastic. So let's open them up. So here they are. The covers are so cute. This could literally fool anyone. But let's read what it's about. Captured and isolated against their will, the Diclonius species are a threat waiting to break free. When a young Diclonius girl New escapes from the research facility she was being held in, she manages to find solace in 2 allies, until danger finds her again, putting everyone at risk. However, her enemies soon realize they're in over their head as an attempt to subdue New results in unspeakable tragedy. If you're a fan of blood and gore and tragedy, this is definitely the manga for you. If you're not, then you should stay far away, because this is as bloody and as tragic as it comes. Even though the story isn't the best, it's still good. It's not great, but it's good, and it's worth a read if you're into horror. It has some really sweet romance, if that helps. Even though this isn't as psychologically heavy, it's still really heavy, and there's this one story with a dog, and it's heartbreaking. I almost quit the anime after the dog thing. If you've seen the anime or read the manga, you know about the dog thing. So be prepared for that. Psychological is definitely my favorite genre, but I don't say no to some simple gore either. If you don't like reading manga, you could give the anime a try. Same with Parasyte, I think the anime is great. So yeah, if you're not afraid of blood, give it a try. Next up, we have another manga I've been looking for a long time, and that's volume and that's volumes 2 and 4 of Oyasumi PUNPUN. Goodnight PUNPUN in English, of course. This isn't a horror per se, but it's sort of an existential crisis that will give you internal horror. So if that's something you're interested in, you should definitely check Oyasumi PUNPUN out. I've heard so many great things about it. I've only had volume 1 and 3 for like several months, so I haven't gotten any further than volume 1. But now I'm so excited to read. No, I think I'm going to wait until I have the last 2 volumes, because volume 1 was so good. Yeah, I'm going to have to wait. I have volume 1 and 3, and this is volume 2 and 4. So then I'm missing 3 volumes. I think it's 7 volumes, with the last volume being much shorter than the others. These ones are also parental advisory explicit content and wrapped in plastic. So let's release them from their plastic prison. If I can. I'm going to read the synopsis from the first book, and this one says, it's not a very long synopsis, but this one says, meet PUNPUN Punyama. He's an average kid in an average town. He wants to win a Nobel Prize and save the world. He wants the girl he has a crush on to like him back. He wants to find some porn. That's what he wants. But what does he get? For some more context, I'm going to read the back of volume 2, because the back of volume 1 didn't really describe much. So volume 2 says, PUNPUN was an average kid in an average town, but things have changed. The love of his life wants to kill him. His parents got divorced, and God is being mean to him. What are you going to do now, PUNPUN? This is also a psychological type of horror, not horror really, but a psychological type of manga. I've heard people say that they couldn't sleep for days after finishing the story, that it broke them. So I'm super excited to read it, of course. So if you're into coming of age stories that aren't just romance and perfect daily lives, then I think you should try this one if you're ready for the pain and suffering it's going to cause. And now, last but not least, we have something completely different and also not safe for work warning. I won't show any explicit content, but this manga is definitely not safe for work. So I'm going to use my finger as a censor bar, but this is Metamorphosis by Shindo L. And this manga has become quite a, I don't know if I should say classic, but quite well known in the hentai community or manga community in general for having a great and terribly disturbing and heart-wrenching story. As you could probably guess by now, this is a hentai manga, and I have opened it, and it's a lot worse than I thought. I haven't read it yet, but I'm kind of scared too. But anyway, let's see, there's no hypnosis on the back. But oh, that's pretty. So I found a hypnosis online, and it says, having just graduated from school, Saki realized she never made a single friend over those years. Not wanting to be forever alone, she remodels her look and personality for a fresh debut. She instantly sees a change on how her classmates treat her, and it appears as if everything is finally going her way. Saki's about to get more than she bargained for when a chance encounter spirals her life out of control and breaks it in ways she could never imagine. So even though that doesn't say a lot about the story, I've heard that it's quite depraved, quite extreme, but also really interesting, and that you can't stop reading it when you first start. I don't think this is something you should find pleasure in, to say it mildly. But I was just really intrigued. I haven't read a lot of horror hentai. I do like hentai, just I don't know, for the story, I guess. That sounds like the dumbest excuse, but I actually do. I'm kind of scared to start reading this because I've heard so much about it. But yeah, if you wanna try something wild, going for a wild, depraved, terrible, heartbreaking, stomach-wrenching journey, I can't say I can recommend it yet because I haven't read it, but I'll give you an update when I have. So that was it for this horror manga haul. Maybe you found something interesting in time for Halloween. I don't know what I'm going to start with, to be honest. Probably the last one because I'm so intrigued. I'll get better with my upload schedule. I'm hoping to have at least one video every 2 weeks, maybe one every week if I can manage it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a good time. I really did. It was nice filming and talking to you again, and I hope I'll see you in my next video. So happy Halloween and bye.